I'm Harrison Graham, and welcome into Chicago Bears Now. We're going to take a look at some injury updates from Bears training camp, some mostly positive ones to dive into here. Matt Eberflus talked about Caleb Williams on the Pat McAfee Show today, and a borderline disastrous day for the Minnesota Vikings. We'll dive into that as well. And speaking of the Vikings and other NFL teams, college football, I cover it all over on my other YouTube channel. It's called 4Verts. Go give us a subscription over there. It's 100% free. YouTube.com/@4verts is the link right there. Put the link in the comments and in the description. Go support me. We're trying to get to 2,000 subs over there. All right, let's dive into some injury updates for the Chicago Bears as several players returned to practice on Wednesday. A couple of these guys kind of started to ramp up yesterday. The players who were back out there in some regard, Montez Sweat and Nate Davis were both full goes, so it's a positive sign, especially for Nate Davis, who, you know, I've been critical of on this show. Kyler Gordon, mostly a full participant, did some 11-on-11s, didn't do full team drills, but did a lot today. Tyreek Stevenson was limited, did some individual and 7-on-7s. Roschon, just individual stuff. They're ramping him up, but he hadn't practiced in over a week, so good to see him kind of kicking in the right direction. We'll see if he's able to play Saturday. We'll see how much he'll do tomorrow in the joint practice against the Cincinnati Bengals. But the Bears are starting to get healthier, and that's good because they've had several guys not practice for several days here, and a lot of notable players not on the practice field. So definitely want to get these guys on the right track as we get closer to week one. 8 guys did not practice on Wednesday. Brett Rypien, not sure where or what's going on with him. He wasn't out there today. Collin Johnson remains sidelined. So does DeAndre Carter. Ryan Bates still not working out, as is Jacob Martin. Martin's probably been out the longest out of this crew. Jaquan Brisker, Adrian Colbert, pair of safeties, which, by the way, just side note, feels like Brisker misses a lot of camp every year. Don't know what to make of that. And then Patrick Scales, the long snapper, still not out there either, which you don't really need him to practice. Just have him ready week one, but not sure what the latest on his is. Now, joint practice tomorrow, which we'll take a look at some kind of things I'm looking out for toward the end of the video, but we'll see which players do and don't practice. The Bengals already came out and said that they're not going to play their starters in the game since there is a joint practice, so we'll see if the Bears follow suit in that thinking as well. Could depend on how tomorrow's practice goes. I want you guys to make the decision, though. Would you play the starters, especially Caleb Williams, against the Bengals in the game on Saturday? Type Y for yes, you would. Type N for no, you would not. Give us your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now, Matt Eberflus talking about his QB1, Caleb Williams, hopped on the Pat McAfee, almost said Matt McAfee Show earlier today, and spoke very highly of the young rookie. He said he's very mature for his age. The experiences he's had in football, from NIL to winning the Heisman and having a lot of attention, has really helped him prepare for this moment, to being a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's always going to be where his feet are. He's very comfortable in his own skin. He's very confident in his abilities. Again, we have to really play well around him. This guy is a rookie, and we have to play well around him to make his job easier, because he has it's supposed to say toughest starting job in the world, which is playing NFL quarterback. And 2 words that you've heard over and over and over again from coaches, teammates, people around Caleb: comfortable and confident. Matt Eberflus used both of those when describing him. In a quote later on in the video, he said that Caleb's growing into that leadership role of being this team's quarterback. You love to see that as well. And Caleb had this self-awareness earlier in the summer, like in OTA, saying, you know, right now I'm just observing, I'm learning, I'm getting to know the guys. You know, growing into that leadership role will take time, and sounds like that's starting to take place over at Hallis Hall. And you just continue to be impressed by what this kid is doing on the field, off the field. We saw how he played against Buffalo. He's growing in practice within this offense, and guys continue to rave about him in terms of his leadership and just ability to connect with the guys. And you got to be able to do that if you're the quarterback. You don't necessarily have to if you're the pass rusher, the corner, the receiver, but if you're the quarterback, everyone leads differently, but you have to have some sort of leadership ability, and it certainly seems like he does. Today's show is sponsored by Mando, and we're toward the end of the summer, but I know a few people are still going on vacations before week one gets here. And you know when you're packing your suitcase and you're like, man, I'm running out of room, and a lot of the time it's with your toiletries. Well, how about this? The Mando 4-in-1 Acidified Cleansing Bar is a 5-ounce bar that does the work of shampoo, face wash, body wash, and deodorant, and has a little bonus impact for you. You can also use it to create a rich shaving lather. So technically it's a 5-in-1 bar, and it's clinically proven to control odor for 24 hours, which is fantastic on the road. You just use this deal once per day, has you covered, especially depending on where you're staying. Maybe you don't have access to shower certain times of the day. It's just really convenient to have. And I know me, we work busy days here at Chat Sports, and I know a lot of people out there middle of the day, they want to sneak in a quick workout, start the second half of their day. Well, you don't have time to go home and shower and change and all that. Just use Mando's products. I got some of the Invisible Cream right here, the cream deodorant, which is awesome. Got some of the wipes here as well. You can get all of this stuff for $5 off with code CHAT at shopmando.com. Code CHAT, shopmando.com. That link will be in the comments and description of this video. Tons of awesome products from Mando. Don't be the smelly person in your group. Make sure to take care of yourself hygiene-wise, and Mando's going to help you do that. Code CHAT, get you $5 off. All right, tough day for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, there's really no way around it. Now, it's not as bad as it could have been. We'll explain that here in a second. But first things first, J.J. McCarthy is out for the season. Fellow rookie quarterback in this league, tore his meniscus. We knew yesterday that he would need surgery, and they didn't know until they got in there if it would be a full repair or just kind of repairing a partial tear. It's a full one, which means he's out 6 months and is not going to return this year. And look, it's kind of twofold from Minnesota's standpoint. Darnold was probably going to start anyway and play a lot this year, but you don't get the rest of training camp reps if you're J.J. McCarthy. You don't get those preseason reps. And if Darnold struggles or if J.J.'s progressing enough, you don't have the option to go to him in the middle of the season. Now, if you're Minnesota, you're kind of starting over next offseason. Now, you're not starting from scratch. I think the Vikings, and Kevin O'Connell said today, they feel confident that he's their QB of the future, but losing him for 6 months isn't ideal either for a young player who needs a lot of reps. And look, when you just think about it from a Bears standpoint, like, you really need Caleb to stay healthy. Like, this would be catastrophic for the Bears if something like this happened, because they're in year 3 of this regime with Flus and Poles, and they're under pressure to start winning. Like, if Caleb's got to be out there. At least Minnesota kind of bridged this thing with Sam Darnold. They kind of reset this year, letting Kirk Cousins go, so it doesn't feel as catastrophic. But make no mistake, this is a huge deal, and potentially has NFC North implications this year. I think most people have the Vikings bringing up the rear in the division, but it's still a talented team. If Darnold really struggles, they don't really have another option to go to. I mean, it's Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall, so I don't think the Vikes feel great about that. Now, it looked to be going from bad to worse today for Minnesota as Jordan Addison went down with an injury, came up hobbly after trying to leap for a high pass at training camp today, rode in the cart to the training room, but luckily for the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell via Matt Caller here provided an update and said, quote, "I think he's going to be okay." They don't think it's serious at this point in time. I mean, could you imagine if Jordan Addison had suffered a serious injury today as well? And look, I know fans are fans and people say stuff in the moment, but I'm never going to cheer for an injury on this channel. And look, I want Caleb and JJ to have some awesome battles in this division for years to come. So hopefully he comes back, gets better, and stronger for the future, because this could be a fun rivalry potentially moving forward between these two young quarterbacks. But it's not going to start this year, as J.J. McCarthy is going to miss the entire season. Now, who do you guys think wins the NFC North? Type CHI for the Bears, FGB for the Packers, DET for the Lions, or MIN for the Minnesota Vikings. And by the way, it is absolutely encouraged to not pick the Packers, but still put FGB in the comments. That's totally fine. All right, some quick joint practice thoughts as the Bears host the Bengals tomorrow before we get out of here. Great reps and opportunity coming up for Caleb Williams, because in these games, I'm not saying teams don't show you different looks, and the Bills actually did show him a few different looks, and he did pretty well. But a lot of the time, it's they're sitting in cover 2 or something like that. But these teams ramp it up for joint practice. There's a reason the Bengals are not going to play their starters in the game, because they're going to go all out for this practice tomorrow. So opportunity for Caleb to show out and to play well. These could be some of his biggest reps yet leading up to week 1. Also, the Bengals wide receiver group, no Jamar Chase. So if I'm looking at the Bears secondary, can they dominate in these joint practices? Obviously, T. Higgins is there, but I'll take Jalen Johnson in that matchup all day. We'll see how much Kyler Gordon and Tyreek Stevenson do, but I think an opportunity for the Bears secondary to really show out. And we're also keeping an eye on the weather, because the forecast tomorrow is 90% chance of rain. We'll see if they have to move inside to the Walter Payton Center, and if they do, can they fit 180 players and coaches in there and have an effective joint practice? Not sure what that's all going to look like between now and then, but practice for now is scheduled at 1 o'clock Central Time, so we will see how that all shakes out. But assuming this practice takes place, again, another side note, I don't know if the fans are going to be able to go in there if that's the case, but should be a competitive day, assuming it does go down, and hopefully it does. And we'll be reacting to it all here on Chicago Bears Now. Go live at 4 o'clock Central tomorrow, 3 hours after the practice starts. That should give us enough time to react to practice and give some of our top takeaways as well. My name is Harrison Graham. Lots to get to here on this channel, so subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.